Welcome back to the memory lane. I hope you are sitting comfortably with a warm cup of tea. Today, I want to take you back to a time that tested the very soul of the American West. Historians call it the Great Die-Up, the winter of 1886 and 87. It was a season so cold, legend says words would freeze in the air before they could be heard. But they say the coldest winters bring the warmest stories. In the middle of that frozen hell, two broken souls found each other. One was running from a past she couldn't escape, and the other was hiding in a fortress of solitude. This isn't just a love story. It is a story about survival, second chances, and how one meeting can change the destiny of an entire community. Our story begins far away from the snowy plains, in the cobblestone streets of Philadelphia. Elizabeth Montgomery was a talented nurse, trained in the best hospitals in the East. But behind closed doors, her life was a nightmare. She was trapped in a home filled with fear and control. In 1887, a woman traveling alone was rare. A woman running away was dangerous. But Elizabeth made a choice. She chose the unknown danger of the Wild West over the certain misery of her home. With her last savings, she bought a one-way train ticket to Wyoming Territory. She wasn't running to something, she was just running from something. When she stepped off that train in Wyoming, the cold hit her like a physical blow. It was 40 degrees below zero. The station was empty. The wind howled like a wolf. Elizabeth sat on her suitcase, her teeth chattering, her hope fading with the setting sun. She thought, perhaps I have made a terrible mistake. Perhaps this is where it ends. But fate had other plans. Through the blinding snow, a shadow emerged. It was Jack Thornton. He was known as the cattle baron of the territory, the owner of the massive Double T Ranch. He was a man who had everything: land, money, power, but he had no one to share it with. He had buried himself in work to forget his own loneliness. When Jack saw the woman freezing on the platform, he didn't ask for her name. He didn't ask for her history. The code of the West was simple. You help those in need. He dismounted, wrapped his heavy sheepskin coat around her trembling shoulders, and lifted her onto his horse. He took her to his ranch. For the first time in weeks, Elizabeth felt warmth not just from the roaring fireplace, but from the kindness of a stranger. Jack was a man of few words. He gave her a room, hot food, and safety. He didn't demand to know why a city woman was alone in Wyoming. He gave her the one thing she needed most: dignity. And in that silence, a bond began to form. As the days turned into weeks, the storm raged on. The ranch was cut off from the town. Disaster struck when a group of ranch hands fell ill with pneumonia, and another was kicked by a startled horse. In those days, a fever or a broken bone often meant death out on the frontier. But the Double T Ranch had a secret weapon. Elizabeth didn't hide in her room. She rolled up her sleeves. She opened her medical bag. She set broken bones, broke fevers with cold compresses, and organized the bunkhouse like a hospital ward. The rough cowboys, who had never seen a trained nurse, began to call her the Angel of the Storm. Jack watched her transformation. The scared woman from the train station was gone. In her place was a leader, strong, compassionate, and brilliant. He realized he wasn't just protecting her, he was admiring her. One evening, by the fire, Jack said, "Elizabeth, this ranch has survived wolves and bandits, but it has never had a heart, until now." He didn't offer her just marriage, he offered her a partnership. He proposed using his fortune to build a real clinic for the territory, with Elizabeth running it. When spring finally broke the winter's grip, they didn't go their separate ways. They married in the small chapel they helped build. Together, they transformed the Double T Ranch. It became more than a business, it became a sanctuary. They built the first proper clinic in the county. They brought in teachers for the ranch hands' children. The Runaway Nurse and the Lonely Baron became the pillars of Wyoming. They proved that true wealth isn't in the cattle you own, but in the lives you touch. They grew old together on that porch, watching the sunsets over the land they tamed with love. Legend has it that even in his 80s, Jack would still look at Elizabeth with the same wonder he felt that snowy night at the train station. They left behind a legacy of healing and community that lasted long after they were gone. Elizabeth thought her life was over when she boarded that train. She thought she was traveling into the cold dark. But instead, she found her purpose, and she found her home. To all my friends listening today, sometimes when we feel like we are at the end of the line, standing on a frozen platform, that is exactly when our new life is about to ride in. It is never too late for a second chance. It is never too late to find your own Jack or your own Elizabeth. I hope this story warmed your heart today. Did this remind you of a time when a stranger helped you? Or a time you had to start over? Please, share your memories in the comments below. I read every single one of them. If you enjoyed this trip down the memory lane, please like and subscribe. It helps us bring more of these lost legends back to life. Until next time, keep your heart warm and your memories close. Goodbye for now.